Continuing with my ideal DC universe, a sequel to Return of Bruce Wayne, Batman Battle for the Cowl. Take place right after the end of the last film of Alfred explaining what happened when Bruce was gone. 2 months ago, the time machine's kind of wacky. We see a news report talking about how the Bat hasn't been seen in a week, leading to many rumors about how he died. And Guy Gardner's watching, he's like, I didn't do it. He's not dead. I have hope. He's just, I don't know. And we see someone in Arkham watching this on a TV. And Egghead decides to tell someone else, and this becomes a big game of telephone, and someone who's released ends up telling someone who tells Black Mask that the Bat's dead, and he decides to come up with a plan. And we cut to Rick Grayson. He's still trying to be Robin, but Rick has changed. He's lost Bruce. It's as if he's cut himself off from all emotions. He takes his frustration out on some Joker thugs, but he ends up getting separated from them. As soon as he catches up, he finds them. The next thing he knows, they're all caught. And they have a note attached to them. I am Batman. Rick sees out the window someone dressed like Batman, and he does the pose. Rick goes to chase after him, but he eventually loses him. And we see a couple prison buses transporting some prisoners. One of them gets separated from the others as the drivers explain they're going to Blackgate. And on board is a bunch of familiar faces. But the guard starts pointing a gun at the driver and spraying the prisoners with some gas as someone approaches the front of the bus. It's Black Mask. And he tells them all about how the Bat is dead. He needs their help to take over Gotham. Ivy is immediately unimpressed and does not want to do this. Someone tries jumping Black Mask, but he says something which causes him to melt. Black Mask explains that they now have nanomachines in their system. You can easily have them melt much like their friend down there, or you women can actually listen to me and I'll give you the cure if you play along. Then we cut to Commissioner Gordon walking through a crowd protesting about the police and the death of Batman and how crime is up and the prisoners escaped. We see a bunch of people dressed like Robin, led by two familiar faces. Everyone has questions. Gordon doesn't really have any answers. Even Riddler is there. He cannot confirm nor deny any rumors about the Bat. At this moment, please leave me alone. Harvey Bullock is like, damn kids. Then we cut to Rick, having a silent moment with the Cowl again. Until it's broken up by some voice saying he looks sad in there. And Rick is like, maybe because he can see how Gotham's going to hell. Wait a minute, who the hell is that? The voice introduces himself as
ابن عال زوفش,
the son of the Bat, Damian Wayne, and he's here to claim his inheritance. Rick is like, no, you need to get out of here right now, stranger, which leads into a little tussle between the two, which concludes with Damian climbing onto the giant T-Rex and nearly falling, but Rick saves him. Damian's upset because Rick is adopted, and Damian's actually flesh and blood of Bruce. Alfred arrives and he's like, who the hell is this and why the hell is he here? So Damian starts explaining that long ago he is the son of Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul, who hooked up right before the Darkseid War. Rick is kind of stunned that Bruce didn't tell him, or he didn't even know about him. But Damian explains that's because he was raised in isolation in the Australian outback by Talia, learning the ways of the League of Shadows, not even knowing about Bruce until he could be able to defeat Talia in a sword fight. It might be 20 years of trying finally paying off, or she just let him win because she found out Bruce is dead, but it has to be one of us, Dick. We are taking over Bat's mantle. But Rick is still kind of shaky about taking up the mantle this soon after. But newsflash, someone's beat them to it. And it's not just pissed off teenagers dressing like us to complain that the cops aren't doing their job. Look, someone is using batarangs. Someone actually knows what they're doing. Rick thinks back to that guy who looks like Batman from earlier, so now they have a mystery on their hands. Alfred wants to sell Master Bruce's legacy, as in the costume that's hanging in the closet, staring eerily at us. But Rick decides to put it off for now to investigate whoever this other Batman is, and it's like they're trying to lead him somewhere. Perhaps. But then Barbara Gordon calls up as Oracle. He talks with Jim, who tells them about the big escape, as well as the bat signal's been desecrated. The criminals have disappeared seemingly without a trace. But Rick realizes, unless one shepherd is leading his flock without their choice. As we see a bunch of the criminals suiting up, and they're going out. They're targeting a big shipment of weapons bought by Two-Face, and they're going to frame the Joker who did it. They attack the shipment. They spray paint a bunch of J's and laughing and leave a bunch of toys around to frame him. Barbara hears what's going on and tells it to Robin, so they head out. They get near, but then Killer Croc just knocks the Batmobile over. Ivy quips that the Batman just rolled over in his grave. And now meat's back on the menu. So everyone starts attacking the two Robins who try holding up. You see Catwoman purposely drop a crate onto Killer Croc to slow him down. The two Robins escape nearby, even getting caught in a big explosion by one of the thugs. They try laying low as the thugs enter, but then they're taken out by that other Batman who has guns. The singer's Rick, who jumps at him and they start fighting. But they're equally matched, and the other Batman seemingly knows who Rick is, which is kind of weird. Rick tries screaming that Batman doesn't kill, and the other Batman says, "Look what that got him." He gets stabbed by a bunch of batarangs. As the other Batman complains that he buried the Batman, and he dug him up. You watched Gotham burn around you and did nothing. Damon tries attacking, but he just ends up throwing him away and shooting at him. And the other Batman reveals that he is Jason Todd. Rick is confused, and Jason's like, "What's the matter? You lost for words?" Rick says that he thought he died. "Don't you dare lie to me. How long did it take to replace me? A month? A week? I trusted him, and he just threw me away. I tried getting the clown just to get kidnapped, beaten, and blown up, and Bruce was nowhere to be seen. But somehow I woke up a week ago, and I learned of Bruce's death, and someone has to keep this city safe. And of course, it has to be me." But Rick says he's looking at this all wrong. Bruce did try to save you. He ran there. He tried everything he possibly could, but he was just too late. An angry Jason tries screaming to shut up as he shoots at Rick, but he hears Killer Croc coming and he smoke grenades out of there. So Rick grabs Damien and he tries escaping. Later, they're all patched up, and Damien's confused of who Jason is. So Rick explains the story of him and Jason. And before the idea of Robin, Rick used to work with his family as the Flying Graysons, a circus act. But due to some insurance fraud, a gangster ended up killing his family. Bruce sent Tony Zuko to jail, and adopted Rick, seeing similar kinship in what happened with him, keeping his family's colors to honor them, as well as to make sure if Bruce and him ever got separated, he could be found. But eventually Rick ran away after the Darkseid War, dealing with so much trauma from it. 2 months later, he finds some orphan kid trying to steal the wheels off the Batmobile. The orphan, Jason Todd, but he ran away, so Bruce had to do some detective work and found out that Jason was working with the Mad Hatter. The Mad Hatter, inspired by his Gotham 1919 self and Seward King from the animated series, is a crazy guy obsessed with Alice in Wonderland, and much like Oliver Twist, he has an army of orphan children who are pickpockets and stuff, known as his rabbits and Alices. He entices orphan children with candy, but gets them to stay because he provides shelter, readings of Alice in Wonderland, and cigarettes, things that every kid loves. He also treats the children like garbage and does very bad things to them, but they also don't have anywhere else to go, so many of them stay for a very long time, like the twins Rob and Don, who are well into their teenage years, known as Tweedledee and Tweedledum. But with Jason's help, Batman discovered where all this was happening and did his thing, taking out the Mad Hatter, but the twins escaped. The orphans were given the help they needed, and Bruce decided to adopt Jason, who also decided to help out and become the next Robin. And they stopped people like the Riddler and Penguin, but over the years Jason became more and more brutal with his crime fighting, and Bruce tried stopping him, but he also didn't want to discourage him and have him run away like Rick did. Well, unfortunately in 2012, Jason was kidnapped and beaten by the Joker and blown up. Rick heard about the news and returned to help his dad through all this. And Damien might be able to know how Jason returned, because the League of Shadows has a pool that's able to resurrect the dead. Mom always told him the story about an old bird that was brought back from the dead, but escaped, so he might be that old bird. Alfred heads down to the cave with some tea, and Rick is just upset about Jason and how hurt Damien got in this fight. Alfred tries reminding him he's just one man, But Rick is like, so was Bruce and so was Batman. I tried to be him before, and I failed. But no one can be him, but someone can represent what he stood for. The ideals that made Batman: justice, consequences, and an ironclad resolve to protect the innocent. Then we cut to the police investigating what happened on the boat, and all signs point to that Joker. Gordon's talking to District Attorney Albert Tyler, who is unaware that he's in the DC Universe and thinks this is weird and he can't really prosecute the Joker without super amount of evidence. They have procedures for this, as we see Victor Zsasz gain a new face. So Albert leaves just as Victor Zsasz enters with that face, dressed as a cop, and he starts shooting, saying Candygram from Two-Face. Tyler gets hit. Harvey Bullock shoots back, and Victor Zsasz gets a big chase, but he ends up escaping. This leads into a game war between the Jokers and the Two-Facers, which Black Mask loves. So Rick goes up to the display and decides to finally put on the cowl, becoming Red Robin. That leads us into the present of Alfred telling Batman what happened. Also, Jonah Hex is there. He's a cowboy who ended up time traveling with me. Long story. So Bruce has to come up with a plan to save Rick from what the hell is happening with Jason, as well as take out Roman Sionis. And since his son inherited his cowl, he decides to take up his identity and becomes the Robin. Hex jokes, "Don't you dare expect me to put on something similar." Meanwhile, in the Batmobile, Rick calls Barbara to figure out what's going on. They kind of figure out that Black Mask is causing a turf war and he'll profit after they kill each other. And Jason's prepared to kill Black Mask and head on to the Joker and the Two-Face, and Rick has to prevent this. Meanwhile, with Bruce and Hex, they make their way to Sionis' lab. The two sneak in, with Bruce finding the nanomachine's kill spray, but then Roman Sionis finds them and then starts a big fight. And Jason's nearby with a sniper about to take the hit on Black Mask, but then Rick hops in and starts fighting him. Jason's kind of confused because he saw Rick in the crowd, but whatever, and they fight. And Rick knows that he's flipping out because of the Lazarus pit, and Jason's like, "Shut up." He starts just whipping him. Bruce is having kind of an easy time until the supervillains arrive, but Hex, that was hiding out, tells them about the antidote. Either back off or blow it up, and they have to serve Black Mask forever. So they do, except for Victor Zsasz, who decides to start fighting Hex. The Catwoman enters, helping Hex and taking a hit of the antidote. She helps out Bruce and Hex take down Black Mask as the cops arrive. Jason's about to take out Rick until Bruce arrives in full Robin outfit. Everyone's confused as he talks to Jason.
"Of all my failures, you have been my biggest. I take full responsibility for your wayward and self-destructive path in life. You were broken, and I thought I could put the pieces back together. I thought I could do for you what could never be done for me. Make you whole. What happened to you as a child? The terror, the pain, the horrors. But that secret is one that neither of us should have kept. You needed repair, and instead I gave you an outlet to act out on. For that, I apologize. But it's not too late for you to get the proper healing you never received. It's not too late for me to help you. It's time for you to stop what you're doing. Alfred knows of a brilliant doctor.
No! Jason lashes out at Bruce and they start fighting.
Stand down, Robin!
Don't call me that! It's not who I am!
Joker got to you. I know what it's like.
Don't pretend to understand!
Get over!
Stop! Stop talking to me! You did this to me!
I'm sorry.
You left me to rot with him!
It's not too late. We can fix this. Together. Alfred, it's found Jason.
God, is he all right?
No. No, he's not.
And so the Bat family survived another adventure. Catwoman gives Bruce a little kiss before she escapes from the police. Bruce is going to spend a little more time getting to know his son Damien. Hex gets to stay in the pool house for now until they find a way to send him back. Learn about modern culture and stuff. Bruce starts thinking he could use his own society to help out. He is just one person. So we cut to a news report where Vicky Vale's interviewing one of the We Are Robin kids, saying the town's gone to shit because there's no God, comparing Batman to God, and his Robins are his angels. Isn't it clear that Batman isn't just a man? He's fear, he's consequence, he's retribution. I can go on. But then Bruce Wayne approaches, saying he's a little more than just that. He's justice, redemption, hope for a better tomorrow that no one has to do the same thing he has to.
Giving an interview outside of Wayne Enterprises. The reporter leaned in, asking if Bruce fears his own safety from these supervillains that might be targeting him. I'm prominent and a successful citizen of Gotham. My parents were murdered in the street. As you might expect, security isn't the kind of issue I've ever been inclined to overlook. Bruce explains to her, and he leads them out the front door, explaining that there are many rumors about Batman's true identity and how the world no longer knows how many Batmen there are due to Batman Incorporated.
So it turns out Bruce set up Batman Incorporated so he can have multiple Robins acting at once and maybe even some more later. As we see Rick and Damian taking on some of the Two-Facers and Jokers, we see the Spectre Norman's cameo, and Spectre says, "The Batman has the city under control." The Justice League International is seeing this on the news, and Guy Gardner feels justified. "See, I told you guys, you never give up hope." Diana sees this and is kind of concerned what Bruce is doing. Natalia informs the Mankind Liberation Front that Damian has made himself acquaintances with Bruce. They're all like, excellent. We have our mole in Batman's organization now. But we might still want to use that talent we were thinking of. And Lex talks about how Black Mask might have taken some of the subjects they wanted to use in Task Force X, but Waller has reported that some of them did make it all the way to Blackgate, so our plans can continue. With Project Adam, Ultrahuman Knight, Brain, and Von Bach are glad to have their old friend Fallout's body returned after that Chernobyl incident they all caused. In our post-credits, we see Jason donning the Red X outfit as he heads to Dakota. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoyed my video.